everyone, welcome back. My name is Alice and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. Today I'll bring with you a card that I made as part of a blog hop. Here it is, and I've used the Beautiful World stamp and dice bundle. So I did film myself, this is take two. The other one was quite shocking in terms of me coming out of frame, but I guess it's all a learning experience. So hope you enjoy this video. Alright, so let's get started. I'm bringing in my A4 card base, which is in the Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to cut that in half because I want a portrait size card. So you'll see me bring out my trusty trimmer. I love this trimmer. So definitely highly recommend this trimmer. So I'll cut this in half and you'll see me cutting it and measuring it. Measure twice, cut once, as they say. Alright, then I'll flip this around and I'll score it in half. So don't worry too much about the measurements. I have got it in my blog post. So please check out my blog post at stampingwithalice.blogspot.com. And I have all the measurements in both centimetres and in inches for you guys. So I've just scored it in half of my trimmer that's got both a cutting blade and a scoring blade. And I'll fold this in half and I'll give it a nice varnish. And I couldn't find my bone fold at this point, so but that's okay, we'll play on. Alright, so then I'm bringing back my trimmer because I realised that I need to cut out two pieces from the front panel of the card. So I think if I recall from memory, they're about 5 centimetres is that first cut, which is about 2 inches. Again, measurements will be on my blog, so don't worry too much about it now. And then I cut a slightly smaller piece, which is the middle piece, and I'll use it later for my sentiment. So you'll see me here measuring it out and trying to add and do some subtraction in my head. I swear the older I get, the worse I get at maths. I was good at maths as a child, I'm telling you now. Believe me, trust me. Okay, so here I'll do my, cut out my second piece. And there we go. Okay, so that's all the front card base done there. So then our next step will actually be to bring out this beautiful designer series paper, the World of Good suite it belongs to. And I believe this colour is in the Misty Moonlight. So I want to chop this up into 4 segments. Again, measurements will be on my blog. So I was just sort of having a look here now where I wanted to cut it. So here I am chopping up the designer series paper, and don't be afraid to use your designer series paper. I know it's beautiful, but it's even more pretty on a card, so don't be afraid to chop it up and use it. Okay, so what I want to do is make sure I cut the strips big enough so they can actually fit on the panel of my cards. So you'll see me now measure out 4 equal pieces. So in centimetres, each piece is about 10 centimetres by 4.5 centimetres, and in inches is about 1.5 inch by 3 3/4 inches. So like I said, I've got the full measurements on my blog, but I will speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch me cut all 4 pieces. And that's the last piece of the designer series paper that's being cut. So we'll put my trusty trimmer aside and we'll bring out the other pieces that we'll need to start constructing our card. So I'll bring back the card base, and you'll also need a window sheet. So for metrics, it's 14.9 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, and your imperial measure is 5.25 inch by 4 inches. So just your standard card front size. And I'll line that up, and I'm going to actually adhere it to that card base there. So you sort of see me lining that up, and I decided to actually use my liquid glue to stick that on. Okay, so then what I decided to do here first before I glue anything on is just to rearrange the designer series paper, just to sort of see. I do want all the pieces to sort of line up when I glue them on. You can sort of see I kind of cut it up and then I've got it more jumbled, and I'm just playing around now to sort of see which is the best two pieces for the front panel, and the other two pieces will go in the panel behind it. But I'm sort of playing around here and figuring out which is best, and I'm going to happily then put them aside once I figure out the two pieces that I want to use for the front. And then I'm going to bring in the actual Seal Plus, yeah, I think it's a Seal Plus, just to stick that window sheet to the card stock there. And I did want something a little bit stronger, so you'll sort of see me use that. Now just be careful when you do put it on not to get too close to the edge, because we do want the designer series paper to cover it up later, because you will see through on the other side. So bringing out my Seal Plus, I don't know what I did before that, I had a lot of mucking around, but you'll see me glue that on. So, and I do love the Seal Plus, it's fantastic to use and it's quite strong as well, so perfect for this kind of project. Okay, so when you've got that clear window sheet lined up, you'll press the card, see how I press the flap down, and that's the easiest way to do it. And now I'm just checking to make sure it stands, and I'll get my second cardstock out too, and I'll put some Seal Plus on that as well. And so the best way to attach this is really to have the card standing up, and that way you can actually line it flat so that you don't have any wonky ends, or you don't have that front panel longer than that bottom panel. So you'll sort of see me stand up the card, line that up, bang, easy. And that now is done, and our front panel is starting to take its shape now. So that's how the card's going to open, and that's how it'll look. So then now we want to adhere our designer series paper to the front, and I'm just trying to figure out whether I remember which two pieces I want, and I will continue mucking around with it before. Oh my goodness me, what did I do? I should have put them aside. I don't know why. Okay, well this time was a lot quicker than it was last time, which is good. So I don't have to put you guys through watching that. Alright, then I'll bring my multi-purpose glue and stick on the designer pieces of paper to my card base. So I've decided to use liquid glue. I can't line things up for to save my life. So I have to use liquid glue because it gives me a bit of wriggle room. Kudos to those that can just use a seal and just whack it on. I struggle, so you'll see me do a little bit of a wiggle just to make sure that that's all nice and straight. So that's the first piece done, and then we'll do the second piece as well. So I do have mine, like I said, in a little bottle here. It just makes it easier for me when I need to get the because I find with multi-purpose glue, you really wanted it not to use too much. So just that little bit is all you need, and it works fine for me, and I really love my liquid glue. So that is the front pieces done there. So the other two pieces will go in the back, but I won't be sticking that on just yet because I do want to use that later to camouflage. But you can sort of see that Seal Plus does show through. That's why we use the designer series paper on the other side to cover up those glue markings on there. Okay, next we'll be bringing out the world map dies. So I'll be using these three pieces, and I've cut them out with foil. I won't show you guys on screen, otherwise we'll be here all day. And then within the die set there's also a circular one, which is a perfect size for the globes. So you'll see me cut out 2 circles in the Misty Moonlight as well, and then I'll be gluing those gold foil map globe thingies. Yeah, that's the technical term, globe thingies. With my glue. So this is why I wanted that needle point for my glue. It makes it a lot easier just to do little dots, especially because they are so small. You don't really want them sort of when you press them oozing out the edges. So just me dotting it. That's the first piece. Don't worry, I will fast forward the next pieces so you don't have to watch me glue, because nothing is more boring than watching glue dry. Alright, so here we go, gluing those on. Again, I'm just doing little spots everywhere, making sure that I've got coverage on all sides. Whoopsie, I've dropped that up. So I've gotten glue everywhere. I am a messy crafter. I will put my hands up to that. Trust me, you don't want to be cleaning my craft room after I make the one card. So now you do need to put the needle back into that just to stop it from drying up at the tip. Okay, so I'm bringing back my card now, and I'm going to glue these pieces on. So I'm just positioning it to see which way I like it. And I will use the map that has the Australia on there from my front panel. So just sort of seeing which way I like it. And once I'm happy with the position, I will glue that on. Again, I'll use the liquid glue just to give me that extra wiggle room. So I'm just positioning that. Okay, so I think I'm finally happy with that position. So I'll be bringing out my little trusty glue, liquid glue, just to stick that on there. So remember the position, so that hopefully looks good about there. Sticking that on, press, 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 and then I'll use more of the liquid glue. Again, the fine tip point really comes in handy with these little tiny intricate dies pieces. So I'm just making sure I put a little dot in each corner, and then just along that base there and the stems. So making sure I've got a bit of glue everywhere, so that it will stick nicely onto my card. And there we go. Okay, so I'm just pressing it down. I don't think I did quite enough glue on the little corners, so you'll sort of see me pressing it down, saying stick, stick. Okay, so that looks like it's on now, finally. And then I think I decided to bring an acrylic block to come do the job. So laying that flat on there just to help that little, I think it was a little left-hand corner piece that sort of didn't want to stick down. So we'll let that dry. It just takes a couple of seconds. And then I'm going to flip it over so you can sort of see, don't worry, we will cover all those little glue marks and other pieces so you won't see it. So I'm bringing in my second lot and positioning that, making sure that if I glue that on, it will cover up on the other side. And look, quick tip, make sure you do have this facing the right way, so you don't want your little map upside down, which I almost did. But you sort of see me here positioning that, and then I decided, look, you know what, I'm actually going to cut that little end off it, excuse that arm. I'm going to just cut that little base piece because you won't need that and you won't see that either. So I'm just going to trim that off, and then I'll use my liquid glue just to glue that on and cover that side. And there you go. So that will cover off that ugly glue marks. Again, so you see that I just really dot on the glue and I just make sure that I do have enough because it was not sticking before. So once I'm happy with that, like I said, I cut off the base piece. Don't really need that at all. It will be covered up anyway with a designer series paper, and you want to make sure you line that up exactly so it does meet with the other side. You don't have any bits sticking out because then that will just look ugly. Okay, so using my designer series paper, I'm also trying to position this, make sure they kind of flow and matches, and somehow I got it to not look, well, it doesn't really match, but that's okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, so again, using liquid glue, I'm going to glue that on just to give me that wiggle room. I can straighten it. So let's put that glue on there. Okay, so that covers up the Seal Plus there. And then we'll press it down just to get it to make sure it dries. And then I want to stick on the other designer series paper onto the other side. Squiggle, 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 squiggle with my glue. So as I was about to put this on, I thought, hang on a second, maybe I flip it the right way around. That's a good girl, Alice. Then you can actually sort of see, lucky, and I've stuck that on. Doesn't look too bad. They're not exactly matching those two pieces, but that's okay. I'll live with that. Okay, then I sort of noticed the top one was a little bit crooked, and I tried to rearrange it, but it was too late. It's okay, it's a handmade card. I mean, I do have slight OCD and I did want it straight, but I think I can live with like half a millimetre swing a little bit to the left, but only someone like myself would really pick it up. So I'm okay with that. And I've got it the right way around so I can stick my little globe on. And hopefully that's facing the right way. Again, just using my little acrylic block to flatten that down so it can dry. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll bring out my Misty Moonlight ink pad and my card insert in the Whisper White. Again, the measurements are 14.4 centimetres by 10 centimetres, or your 5 1/4 and 3 3/4. So I'll be stamping my sentiment on the, so what I want to bring out is my Beautiful World stamp set. So I want this to be a thank you card, but I do want a nice sentiment in the middle. So I decided to pick the You Make the World a Better Place stamp. I love that. And then a thank you stamp as well that's in there. So they're the two stamps that I'll be using today. Actually, no, I think there's a third one too. Yes, yep, there's a third one there. That little compass one, I thought that will be really cute. Now, excuse my little foam pad there. It is a little bit messy. I got embossing powder everywhere. I am a messy crafter, I'll admit, and put my hand. I'll be the first to admit that. Okay, so what am I doing here? I am just trying to mark out where you will see that sentiment, because I do want it to show through the window panel there. So I'm just trying to mark it in pencil where that is. So you'll sort of see me line that up, and I think I was off by a centimetre there, but you'll see me line up a second time and do the next one and the one next to the globe. Yep, that's it. And that way I can see where I need to sort of stamp so that it shows through correctly and lines up, because you don't want half that sentiment carved up when you have the card flat. So here I am, just lining up the stamp, and I think I've got it right. Okay, so I'm just going to mount that onto an acrylic block to stamp my sentiment. And here I am. I got those two pencil marks on top, and I couldn't figure out which one was the right one again. So you just sort of see me take out that card and base just to have a look and double check. And then I've decided that I don't actually need that pencil mark, so I decided to actually rub that out so I don't get confused. Yep, I'm going to erase that soon. Here we go, rubbing that out. And then that's a lot better, because now I know which lines I need to actually keep within to make sure it's all lined up. So I'm stamp, stamp, stamp. All right, so I'm going to make sure I've lined that up properly. Excuse my little hair pieces, baby hair. Next time I'll make sure I gel those back. But now I'm stamping and praying that it's a good stamp. Yay. Yes, it is. First go. Love it. Next, I'm mounting that circular little compass piece, and I decided to put that actually on the bottom corner on the right over there, just to sort of give it a little bit more extra oomph. So again, I'm just checking to make sure I've inked it up properly and pressing it down. Bang, yes, that looks good too. Alright, so that's the insert stamped, and now I want to use my thank you sentiment. So what I wanted to do is actually just keep the thank you. I actually didn't want the other lines on there. So I've got a piece of Whisper White's scrap piece, and I'm actually going to bring out some washi tape to cover off the bits that I don't want. So yeah, so that's for being part of mine. So I will take out the washi tape and just cover up those little bits, and watch me fumble with the washi tape. That's quite entertaining to watch. And I'll speed this up a little bit as well. Okay, so I'm just cutting up the washi tapes just to the right size. I did have a bit of problems here because there was that little Y, and I do want to cover off the Y in a thank you. So you'll sort of see me trim that down a little bit, cover the washi tape, and then I'm going to stamp that onto my ink pad, and I want to make sure it looks good, and I'll peel off the washi tape as well. And then you go. That's how you just get the thank you stamp. I'll line that up, pray that it's straight, press, bang. I was pretty happy with that. Alright, so I'll put that aside, and I will now cut off the matting piece for that. Actually, no, I'm doing the same thing. That's right, for the front panel, but this time I did it in the, I'm stamping the Misty Moonlight. So again, just covering off the sentiment that I didn't want, again with washi tape, covering that up, and then I'll stamp that on. So I have sped this up a little bit so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, so I've stamped that. Again, yay, perfect stamp. Happy when that happens. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces. Better put away the ink pad before I make a big mess. And you'll see me now bring out the gold foil. And I'm actually just going to cut out a matting piece. Oh, there goes my headshot again. So I will bring out my mini trimmer. Oh my goodness me. If you don't have one of these, you need to get your hands on one of them. Hopefully they're still available. But I love this. It is so handy. I'm pretty lazy, I won't lie. I do like to just be able to have to measure and just cut it as I see fit. Which is what I'm doing now. So apologies, my measurements on my blog aren't that great for the sentiment piece. But really this is how I cut out my sentiment. I just sort of eyeballed it, lined it up and cut it to the right size. So you'll see me do that, and I'll fast forward this bit as well. Okay, so then I'm just sort of comparing it to the other side. I do want them to be exactly the same size. So again, just eyeballing it, knowing that I need to trim a little bit off, just so that when I do stick them on, they both cover up each other. We don't have any bits sticking out. And that's pretty good. And I'm just going to then, again, like I said, I am pretty lazy. So all I'm just going to do is stick it onto my gold foil piece and then just chop them as well. So you'll see me line them up, and I'll just use my little glue. Again, really, really handy having that needle point just to get the bit of accuracy. I'll stick, and because it's using liquid glue, I can move that and line that up to exactly how I want it to be. And I'm putting the other piece. So again, just trying to make life easier, and that way I only have to do a couple of cuts when I line them up like that. So you see me fidget around with the liquid glue. Make sure that looks okay. Better put that needle pin back on, because nothing worse than having a dried glue tip. Okay, so here I go, cutting my pieces, and again, just eyeballing it. Cool, so just by adding both of them on the same piece, I can then just do one chop. But you'll see me, I am a slight perfectionist, and I will chop a few times just to make sure I've lined everything up straight, to make sure I've got equal border around both pieces. But this is the cheat and lazy way to do it. So, you know, I think it's not too bad. And they both actually somehow managed to be about the same size, so thank goodness for that. All right, let me just clear up some space, and you'll see me stick this on. So that's where I want to position it, and then I'll flip it around and I'll do the inside piece just over the same sort of position. And now I think I will use dimensionals to stick this one on. Now, before people yell at me, I know these aren't dimensionals. For the life of me, I could not find them. I had to go steal my daughter's foam tape because I just wanted to finish off filming this video, and I was probably spent about 10 minutes trying to find dimensionals. I'm a messy crafter. Things fall in and out of places. So, you know what, I thought, I'm not mucking around. I would just, get some foam tape. So lucky I actually stood my car the right way. I almost stuck this on upside down, but I'll just use multi-purpose glue for this one, just so I don't have too much dimensional. If it does go into the post, it'll be a bit too thick if I had dimensionals on both sides. All right, so again, it'll cover everything up. Lucky that's why you need to have them both about the same size. And voila, there you go, that's stuck on. Okay, so last piece that we've got to stick onto this card is the card insert, and I did remember to rub out my pencil marks that I used before, and that way you can't tell that I had to mark that with pencil. Again, using some liquid glue. I love liquid glue. I can't line things up, so this is a lifesaver for me. Oops, I did knock the camera, so sorry about that. And I will just line this up and stick it on. See, this is why I use liquid glue. You see me muck around with this and line this up. So that looks pretty straight now. I'm pretty happy with that. Or am I? Yes, I think I am. And I smoothed it around with a bit more. Yep, that's stuck on. I can't move that anymore, but it looks pretty straight. I'm pretty happy with that. And that is done. Oh my goodness me. I hope, thank you. This is probably a very, very long video. So hopefully you guys did stick to the end. I'll bring out the one that I used for the blog hop, which was in Cinnamon Cider. So which one is your favorite? Let me know. Do you prefer the Misty Moonlight one on the left or the Cinnamon Cider one on the right? I actually love both of them. I think they both turn out awesome, if I say so myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I am a new YouTuber, so thank you for watching, everyone.